yes, I think I love to be in a very quiet place to think about some things and put some strategies in place. Then bed. You must.
Yeah, great.
You must love sleeping.
I must love sleeping.
Then neat must be a tidy up person. Must be a tidy up person you love, or you must be a kind of person that is safety conscious or an environmentalist by nature. You love seeing your environment being neat and tidy. So that's what I can say as by that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Well, amazing. And I feel like I agree with you actually. I think a lot. I don't know if I like sleeping, but I know I like my company a lot. But yeah, I really agree with you. Spot on. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Bola, since you answered, you go up next. Okay, I think you muted your video. Muted yourself. We can't hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
My favorite place is quiet also. Then my favorite place at the same time can be noisy also. Then third one, my favorite place can be, let me say, indoor or secluded environment.
Okay. All right. So you said it has to be quiet, indoor, and somehow noisy.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone here wants to say something about Mr. Aziz based on his favorite place? You want to get something about his personality based on his favorite place?
I can guess.
Okay.
The football viewing center.
If I can't hear you.
The football viewing center.
So like he likes football?
Yes.
Mr. Aziz, is that true? Hello, Mr. Aziz, are you there?
Did everyone hear me, just to be sure that it's not just him?
Yeah, I heard you fine.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Mr. Aziz.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Mr. Aziz, did you hear her? I think he's having a problem with his connection because we can't hear him anymore. Okay, pending when he comes on. Somebody else wants to try. Describe your favorite place in three sentences and we guess something about you. If you feel like you don't want to share it, you can share it in the comment section and that's fine as well. Somebody else. Mr. Olalo, are you there? I have not heard Mr. Olalo's voice in a while. Mr. Etim, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So you want to share three things about, describe your favorite place in three sentences and we'll guess something about you.
I'm there now. Okay. Okay. My favorite place is where ideas are discovered. My favorite place is where we talk about how to make money from the stock market. Let me put it like that. So
I think you like money.
Of course I
Do you like money?
do. Of course I
Am I
do.
correct?
Yeah, you're right.
All right, somebody else wants to get something about Mr. Touche.
Yeah, let me try.
Oh, okay.
Number one,
Mr. Obalema.
you must love money, Mr. Tuishi.
Don't
And
take it.
everybody loves money. Everybody loves money.
We
That's
all
just
agree
a
on
fact.
that.
So that's
It's
what I
okay.
can say about that.
He loves money, right? Right. All right, everyone. Good morning once again. Mr. Etin, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm with you.
Oh, okay. Well, we're hoping we'll see your face, though. Mr. Etin.
Okay, please, can you help me recap a little because I was having issues with my audio. I just had to fix it now, please.
Right. Okay, so we hadn't gone far. We're just playing a game. Basically, just getting to know ourselves based off the game. So this is just a game section. So we are going into the session now. So you have not missed anything.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So now we are going to go on to introduce ourselves so we can all meet ourselves officially. I think so far, right now, I'm the only one who has, to a large extent, met everyone on this platform right now. So we are going to go on to introduce ourselves. Basically, just your name, the name of your organization, and what you do for your organization. Then how are you feeling today? Your name of your organization, what you do for your organization, and how you are feeling today. So I'm going to go first. As you all might have guessed, my name is Amina, and I work with West Africa Vocational Education as the relationship manager. So what I do for my organization is I support strategic partners like yourself in replicating our models in your organization. Yes, and then how I'm feeling today, I'm feeling excited. It's the first day of the training, and I am highly excited. All right, someone else wants to go next. Anyone, someone else. So as someone is speaking, please let's ensure to mute our mic so that we can hear each other clearly. Or you can leave your video on, which is fine. We'd like to see your faces. But if you're not speaking, kindly mute your mic. So someone else wants to share something about them. Your name of organization, what you do for your organization, and how you are feeling today.
Okay, let me go. Can you hear me, everybody?
Okay. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, my name is Aziz Bolayiwa Samson.
Right.
And the name of the organization is SO Education and Business Hub.
Okay.
And what we do is we are into professional capacity development. That is, we train both working class and graduates on professional skills or capacity development skills. And
Okay.
by the grace of God, yes, particularly graduate. And we have
We can't hear you, Mr. Bolariwa. If you can hear him, can you just indicate? Well, I can't hear him right now.
Oh,
okay, now I can hear. We can hear you now.
Okay. So and by the grace of God, I'm the managing director. I'm the one managing the hub for now. So that's what I do.
Okay. Where are you based?
Ondo State.
Ondo State. Right. All right. So how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Actually, let me tell you, this is the first time I'm having a Zoom conference. I'm shy. So
we have a text.
So the thing is, my organization have been trying to put some things together. They have been having a series of Zoom conference, but I've not been able to have time to attend one. So this is actually the first time, and I'm joining them this afternoon by 3 o'clock when Melvin will be having their own. So that's just the minute. So I'm happy to test on the system via Wave and be part of this.
You're welcome. Wow, I can feel your excitement. You're welcome. Thank you so much.
I'm happy.
Thank you so much. All right, someone else, name of organization, and then what you do and how you're feeling today.
Good morning, everyone. Efanga Etim Efio. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm Efanga Etim Efio, the Executive Director for Me Africa Advocacy Group, MAG. And for MAG, we are actually into promoting global human rights standards, commitment, and active civic participation. And we also are into improving the quality of life for disadvantaged and vulnerable women and children, most especially the girls. We do few of capacity development and promoting participatory democracy also. And currently we have a program which we just launched before the COVID-19 pandemic, League 47, and
Hello. Mr. Etim. Okay, so at this point we can't all hear him. Mr. Etim, are you there? So just leave a comment for him so he sees it that we can't hear him anymore. So pending when he comes back online, because we can't hear him, somebody else wants to go. Name of your name of organization.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tumishi Olaoluwa, and I'm the founder and president of my organization, the Investment Consortium. So, what the Investment Consortium is all about is that we promote financial literacy. We particularly millennials on how to create wealth and understanding the financial market and how to make money from the financial market. And also we help them to build a career in finance and also on their skills that will help them succeed in the financial industry, like Excel, financial modeling, and likes like that. So that's what I do for my organization.
I don't understand why your favorite place is So, Satumishi, how are you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm feeling excited because every day the financial market is always delivering. So either it's going up or it's coming down.
Money is coming regardless.
Regardless, yes.
Okay, I like that. That's good. You're welcome, Mr. Tumishe. You're welcome. Okay, someone else wants to share? Let's meet everyone on this group. Someone else? I'm seeing Mr. Etim. Are you back? Mr. Etim? Okay, I don't think it's back up. All right, Ifan, you want to go next?
Hello.
Okay, Mr. Etim is back. Mr. Etim, hi.
Okay, can you hear me? Thank you so much. The network is actually creepy here.
I can imagine. I can hear you now.
So that's exactly what I just spoke about is what we do, and though we're actually planning to work in a community right now after the pandemic anyway to teach women and young girls on
Okay.
vocational skills, something that would help them like live, have something to live on, and help them not to really depend. Our men these days, what will help us? Help them to not really depend on men to do things, and create an avenue where they have to raise something for themselves to help their children and stuff like that. So basically, that is what we are into. And maybe for our program, the university, the undergraduate program, we just launched the program, and by God's grace, before the end of the
Right.
year, we should count universities having the program launch on their campus also. So thank you.
Right. Well, how is Cross River currently? How is Cross River
Wow.
currently?
Cross River is right now the best state in Nigeria. No
Oh,
issue of
wow.
coronavirus. We are good. All movement, as far as you're wearing your marks, you can move anywhere you want.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good.
We're good.
So how are you feeling this morning? How are you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be here. I've actually been on um, conference calls like this,
Mm,
but this one is kind of, I hope it will be exceptional for me. I just have
that's
to
good.
do whatever I need to do today to be here today. Amina has really been on my neck, and
Like that.
yeah. So I really need to be here. So I'll just let her know I did it. Oh, I did it. I was there. Thank you.
I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for ordering the invitation. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you
For
so
those
much.
of us
Thank you
that
so
missed
much.
it, Mr. Efanga is in advocacy for women and young girls particularly. So how do you equip women and young girls so that they can be independent and they don't have to rely on men or other external sources, but they can generate funds by themselves. So he has a campaign, some sort of intervention going that they're planning um, shortly after the pandemic. So please, Ifan, you're up next.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ifani, and I work with WAVE, also West Africa Vocational Education. I work as I develop partnerships, I facilitate, and then I handle the support of the team and operations of whatever we're doing. Thank you.
I think we struggle to hear you.
Oh,
I don't know
really?
if it was
Oh,
only
I'm
me.
sorry. Okay. So I said my name is Ifani, and I work with WAVE, replication department also. I develop partnerships, I facilitate, and I also handle program operations of our business units. Did everyone hear me?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Welcome, you're
All right.
fine.
So in the course of this training, you'll be seeing Ifan a lot of times because Ifan and I will go facilitating this training together. So thank you, Ifan. Okay, I think we have Bolade here as well. Bolade, hi.
Hi, good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? I'm going to be a silent observer, but my name is Moladi Adeniyi. I am the CEO of Wave. So I am literally just sitting here observing as Amina and Ifeanyi do their magic. I'd like to say a very big welcome to everybody who's joining us. Exciting things that you guys are doing. I'd really love to hear more and see how we can truly plug in. We hope that this will be an insightful 3 days for you. We hope to learn from you as well as you learn from us. So please engage as much as you can. There's no grill these girls. They need all the grilling, all the questions. And the more you squeeze of them, the more you get. So please grill them as much as you need to. I feel excited today. I know that someone had mentioned that this was their first Zoom. I mean, I have had very many series of Zoom webinars, but I'm excited because this is the first Wave Zoom session. So it's a first. for us, and will always go down in history as the first time we engage any of our stakeholders via Zoom. So again, thank you all for coming. I know that you seem like it's a small class, but I think that you have the advantage of a small class to really dig deep and get the most of it. So yeah, did I answer all the questions? I mean, I hope so.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Okay, great, awesome.
Thank you so much, Melody. Thank you. So I think we've met everyone at this point, and I must just say that this class is rich, and I see a connection with what you do and what we do. From Mr. Atumishe that deals with young people, how do you teach young people to be financially literate and to have the necessary financial know-how from Excel to Google Sheet and all that. So Mr. Etim, how do you equip young women and young girls to teach them the necessary skills for survival? To Mr. Bolarinwa, how do you take young graduates professional skills? So I see a connection. Okay, it's Obanu. Oh yeah, we have Obanu here as well. Hi, Obanu.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Obanu. I also work with Wave, like Alumni and Molade. I work with the training department, which is the department that facilitates training for young people on soft skills and employability skills. And it's exciting to be here. This is my first Zoom meeting with Wave, and I'm very hopeful. Also, participate and help out.
All right, thank you so much, Obanu. You're welcome. All right. So, like I was saying, we have like-minded people here. So I'm sure that we'll be learning from ourselves. From Mr. Tumishe, who will be gaining something to learn about how do we even teach young people to be financially literate and learn the financial know-how. So Mr. Bolarinwa, professional skills to teach young people, young graduates. To Mr. Etim, how do we equip young women with necessary skills so that they can be self-reliant? So we'll be learning things from everyone. So please do not hold back your questions, your input, your suggestions. This is a give and take class or session. So we'll be learning from ourselves. Once again, you're highly welcome, and this class promises to be interactive. Before we go on next, I'm sure we all have our schedule. Talk about ground rules. How do we ensure that we maximize the class and we do not disrupt the session? Okay, at this point, if you have some ground rules you would like to share with us, kindly in the comment section. Just comment something that you feel like if we adhere to, we'll have the best of the session. Kindly leave it in the comment section. But we'll just run through some of the features Zoom has in place that will help us have the best session or have the best experience. So number one is the mute button. If you notice, you can mute your mics. You can mute your mic. So I'll kindly implore us to mute our mic if we are not speaking. Okay, so if you're not speaking, kindly mute your mic. Why is that we'll be getting sound interference from your background, and yeah, everybody can hear it. So if you're not speaking, please help us to mute your mic. Then when you want to speak, you can unmute your mic. All right. Yes. Occasionally, we don't have to mute our videos. Occasionally, I would like to see our faces. So please, occasionally, you can unmute your video. We can see your face, know how you are there. In fact, occasionally in the class, we'll ask to see everyone's faces, particularly when we are contributing, giving suggestions, we are sharing opinions and ideas. We would like to see everyone's faces. So please, your video button doesn't have to be muted all the time. However, the audio part should be muted unless you want to speak. Then there is the raise hand option. Please, can you indicate if you can see the raise hand option? Just raise your hand if you can see the raise hand option here. It's somewhere on the right side of your screen. Aha, Mr. Etim has seen the function. Nice one. So Mr. Etim's hand is raised up. Please, could you just raise your hand if you can see the option? I'd like to know how many of us can see that. For now, it's just Mr. Etim's hand that is raised up. Remember, if you can't hear me, aha, Mr. Balarinwa has seen the option. His hand is raised up as well. I'm still waiting. If you can see that option, just raise your hand. I want to be sure that we are all on the same track and everyone can see the option. Okay, so far just 2 persons. Mr. Tomishe, can you see the option of raise hand? Mr. Tomishe is here. Is he there? Mr. Etim, you can lower your hand now. Mr. Tomishe, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Where do you say we'll get the? Where do you say we'll get it?
Right hand, the right hand of your screen, where you can see other participants. If you look down, see the raise hand option. Will you try it?
No.
Can't see it?
I can't see it.
So what will happen is if I will chat you, if I will private message you, I'll put you through on how to see the option. So
all right, that'll be fine.
In your comment section, if I private message you, how to see the option. All right, thank you so much. All right, yeah. So we will use the raise hand option when we have to say something. If you have something to say, you have a question. As an alternative, if you don't want to use the option, if you have a question, you can leave the question in the comment section or a suggestion in the comment box. We will see it definitely. Otherwise, you can just raise your hand and we'll definitely call up to you. Okay. Yes, we will start at 10 at every day for the next 3 days, starting today and ending on Friday, and we'll close on or before 2 p.m. So please, let's ensure today, I must give it for everyone, we all showed up on time. And I really appreciate that. We all showed up on time. Well done. So let's keep the tempo up. Let's show up on time and get things done. And we promise to keep the time on our end and ensure that we leave here by on or before 2 p.m. And also, please, let's also ensure to feed the assessment, the baseline assessments that we sent out. As when I checked, Mr. Etim has filled it, Mr. Aziz has filled it. If you are yet to fill the baseline assessment, kindly fill the assessment today. Okay. Thank you so much. I haven't seen any other ground rules. Does anybody have any rules they would like to share that they feel would help us in this session? If you do, can you just, this is the time for you to share it. If not, we'll move on. All right. Okay. So no other rules. So thank you so much. So now we'll go on to the wave model. Okay. Talking about why we do, how we started doing what we do, why we started doing what we do, and how we do what we do. Okay. And which is what you hope to replicate. I remember when we filled the the questionnaire on LinkedIn, most of us said we wanted to learn curriculum development, we wanted to learn how to train, facilitate, and then we wanted to learn how to job match. So we'll be running through our model, how we do that, which we hope you will learn in the course of this. So our partnership will look like this. After this session, we will be with you all the way, walking you through our model as you adapt it to suit your organization. We would help you every way we can. So please, after this training, feel free to call me. I'm your go-to person. Feel free to call me if you have any issues. How do you adapt this? How do you do this in your organization? I would walk you through it, okay? And hopefully after this pandemic passes, we can even come to your organization and see what's going on, the good work that you do in your organization. So Ifeanyi will be walking us through the wave model, how we do what we do, why we started doing what we do, and all that. So at this point, the wave model is something similar to the toolkits which I shared with us earlier. So if you have any question from the toolkit, now is your time to ask the question. So please feel free to ask Ifeanyi any question, how, why we did this, what we did this, for what, and how you can adapt it to your organization. So Ifeanyi, over to you.
Thank you very much, Amina. All right, so good morning once again, and I hope you can all hear me. If you can hear, just nod. For those who have videos, okay, so Michelle, I see you. Amina, I see you. Those who don't have videos, you can wave your hand or something. using the reaction box. Etim has his hand raised. Okay, awesome. Who else is here? I need to be certain that everyone, Mr. Sam Oriyomi, can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly, Mr. Sam? I hope you can, honestly. I hope you can. All right. So like Amina had said, this is just a run through of the toolkits as a whole, right? So if you have gone through the toolkit, whatever I'm saying is just going to be like, be able to connect what I'm saying to what you had read or maybe gone through when we were going through the toolkit, right? I'm going to be sharing my screen with us so that we can see while I run through. And also, please, during the course of this wave model, please, if you have any questions in between, please indicate. I mean, I'll bring my attention whenever someone's hand is up or there's a question in the group chat. Feel free to stop me at any point in time. And please, I would urge us to make this session interactive. You have questions, you have comments, you have something to add, you have something similar going on in your organization, please feel free to add. It's supposed to be an interactive session, and so I would implore us to please make it so. Thank you. All right, so I will share my screen. All right, so we can all see my screen, right? You can all see my screen? Okay, awesome. Okay, so now we are going to start with our wave model. Basically, what you see here is just a pictogram of what our wave model looks like. So there's a part one of our wave model, and then there's a part two. The part one is the training part of it, finding and then training these guys, while the part two is the job placement. So the part one is into, we screen these guys by getting them off the street. There are different ways we get them through an admission, through it means called outreach and admissions. We have a team that does that. They go out into the streets or with different channels to get people in. So channels like town storming. Town storming is where we have the admissions team, the admissions coordinator with some intent go into the streets and speak to people, giving them flyers and telling them about our program. That's town storming. We have radio times where we get time to come and speak on what we do on the radio. People hear from there and then they come into our program, right? Basically, we want to identify those who are self-motivated and who are underserved, right? Our main target is underserved youth. Now, underserved youth falls into two categories. We have the underserved youth who are self-motivated, who know that, oh, I need to make it in life, I need to get things done, regardless of what obstacles are in my way. And while we have another set of underserved youth who tend to be entitled, unfortunately, right? Now, this set of underserved youth who might be entitled are people that somehow they might come into the program, right? And then some way the classes might change their mindsets. And one of our core values at WAVE is mindset change, paradigm change, right? So maybe during the course of the training, their mind is changed and then they are able to change that mentality of being entitled to getting anything that they want, to working for what it is that they want, right? So basically, our outreach team identifies this self-motivated or underserved youth and gets them into the program. Now, in getting them into the program, there is a process. We don't just get them in. It's not everybody that comes into the program. It's not every underserved youth that we see on the street that gets into the program. We have a criteria. We have a list of things that they have to have at least for them to get to the program, right? And before they can do that, they have to go through a process called information session. You get to hear all the things all the benefits of the training, not just the benefits, the why you shouldn't even be in the training. They will tell you why you should not be in the training. So when you hear all the whys as to why you shouldn't be in that training, make up your mind. Do you want to join the training or don't you? Or do you think it's not for you? Whichever way, the info session takes care of that. We also have assessments that they will go through, competency assessment. And it's basically numeracy and literacy assessment to show that you can at least read and write. That's the minimum requirement we have. And that speaks to, if you want to have, if you are in your organization, you need to have a minimum requirement, a criteria for people to come into your program. If not, you just have everybody coming and then there's no way you can see because you don't have any requirements. Just have everybody coming. Our own requirements at WAVE is underserved youth, self-motivated, you should be able to read and write at least, and then you should have your secondary school leaving certificate. You don't have to be a BSc holder. If you are willing to learn, then you can definitely get the job done. That's what we believe in, basically, at WAVE. When they are done with the outreach session and they're able to scale through the info session and the assessment, then you move on to the training. Now, the training is a 2-week employability skills training and a 1-week job shadow. So 2 weeks in-house, you learn a lot of things. You learn effective communication, you learn problem solving, right? You learn all of these things, and then when you are done, you are going to practice what you have learned. And so we have employer partners who we send trainees to go and learn, like IT basically. So for 1 week, sometimes in some cases 2 weeks, you go and learn these things that we have taught you in-house. You learn it out, and then you come back to the training and tell us how the training has helped you on that 1 week IT. When you are done with that, you graduate. Now, bear in mind that whilst this is going on, there is something called, we do assessments for them to check at intervals that they are doing, that the training is doing something for them. So before they come into the program, there's an assessment to check that they are eligible for the program. That's one. There's also another assessment to see their level of understanding before they get into the program, understanding of the skills that we train them on. So the assessment will test for how well you can communicate, emotional intelligence, problem solving, and all of these things. So they do that assessment on day 1. Sorry, on orientation day. Orientation day, you do your assessments. During the course of the training, there's also a midline assessment to check where you are so far, right? After that, we now have an assessment after job shadow to check that what you have learned from your job shadow, from your IT, was worthwhile. It was what we taught you that you learned there. And even if it wasn't, it's also feedback for us to know where we can do, how we can tweak our model or our curriculum to help you. And then we'll now have the endline assessment. Now, in all of this, while all of this is going on, another thing to note is that there will be drop-offs, right? Drop-off is basically a funnel conversion, right? So from the point we have the outreach team go into the street to go and get these people, let's say, for instance, they were able to reach out to 20 people, right? They were able to reach out to 20 people. They got them into the program. They called them. Out of that 20, 10 of them picked up their call and said, yes, I'll be coming for info session. The reduction in number is the funnel conversion. Not everybody that you reach out to is going to come in, right? And then there are different ways to reach out to them. Now, one of our most effective ways of reaching out to these underserved youth is Alumni Referrals. Now, if your product, what you are selling, is good, then I'll be compelled to tell someone else that, oh, I tried this thing and it worked for me. You should try it also. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Most of the things I will end up buying, someone has told us about them that, oh, this thing was good. I liked it, and then I would employ you to also, get it. So if I'm looking for a job, right, and someone who got a job from this program tells me that, oh, this program I attended was worth it, I was upskilled, I was empowered, and then I was able to get a job at the same time, you should try it also. I'll definitely do that. So that's one of our most effective outreach channels. We have other ones. We have local governments, CDAs, we have social media, we have word of mouth, we have family and friends, some random persons just coming across our program and then telling people that they know. Well, now, to the second part of it, which is the job placement. After the training and then they have graduated, we now move them over to our Courier Services team. Now, these are the guys that will now match them to jobs. Now, our job matching is not just, oh, you say you want to work as a front desk or a waiter or a waitress, you now say, that's what I want. There is an assessment to place you on the job that fits your skill. So the skill that you have must match the job that you're going in for. There must be a stable match for the both. We don't just place you on jobs because you say you want a job. So when you finish from training, we will then place you with your career services team, who would administer series of assessments for you, personality assessment, another set of literacy and numeracy assessments. There are different types. We have the BERC, we have core score. These are assessments that we pay for, but there are a couple of free ones that you can have access to, and then will also help you. And then while you are growing, you can then afford to get the paid for one. Then there's also alumni supports. So in as much as we say we are done with them, we place them on jobs, it doesn't mean that we just throw them away and then so thank you and then you go your way, I go my way. There's the ongoing support. So we organize workshops for them. We organize master classes for them that has to do with the jobs that they are currently doing, right? So we don't just place them and then let them then they go on their way. We support them thereafter. So there's the continuous relationship between us and them. Any questions so far? Remember, I said the class should be interactive. We need to chip in if we have anything or comments. Okay.
How do we find people in our own organizations though? Maybe we want to share. Currently, what do we do in our organization? How do you find people? Someone like Mr. Etim. Mr. Etim, how do you find these young women? The young women how do you find them? Where do you get them from? How do you find them? What's your criteria? How do you determine that this person is eligible for your program to come in?
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay. For the organizations, we actually do carry out need assessments for communities, because here in Cross River State, you just see Calabar South and Calabar Municipal. They are the local government areas that okay, things are really moving. Everybody wants to come to Calabar South. Everybody wants to come to Calabar Municipal. And on that note, they practically neglect most of the communities in other local governments. So what we do is we carry out our need assessments. If we are coming up with programs or projects for women, let's say women, to train them on professional skills on how they could be self-reliance and have this means of taking care of their children and also helping their family. We carry out a need assessment. First, we meet the head of the community. From the head of the community, the head of the community know who and who will need such projects in the community. So first thing we do is to meet with the head of the community. Then he will give us a date. Most of them give you a date to come where they will gather these women for you to carry out your need assessment with them. So for the need assessment, we have a template which we use for the need assessment to, let's say, practically detect which of these women actually live in less than $1 a day with their family. So for most of them, you see most of them, they're just in the house. They don't even have access, or they don't even have what it takes to even go to the market and buy things to come and sell. Most of them had like for the hard to reach communities, because most of our projects we do it in hard to reach communities where you can easily lay hands on these women. So most of them, on the need assessment, we get to pick who and who really needs the project, and it depends on the project we are bringing to them. Most of the project, at times you bring projects for women that don't even have access to these things at all. Then some you bring projects for women that have access to it, but don't really have full access to it. So when we are carrying out our need assessment, we first meet with the head of the community to help us, because most of this project, when you go to the communities like that, you need to liaise with the head of the communities. If not, most of the women, they will just tell you what is not. But the head of the communities will practically tell you who and who is in need of that project you're bringing to the community.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing. So if I hear you clearly, you have just community heads as your means of finding people for your program.
Yes, mostly.
Just community heads, okay.
Yes.
and that is your effective way, because if you don't go through them, you would not get the right people for your program.
Yes, you will not get the right participants for your program.
Right fit for your program. Thank you very much for sharing, Mr. Item. Anyone else wants to share?
Yeah. Okay, Mr.
Mr. Sam.
Bola's hand is up.
Okay, sure. You can go ahead, please.
Okay. Thank you so much. Actually, this is how we get our trainees majorly. Mostly we deal with core members for our soft skills, because we believe the major problem we are facing in Nigeria as of today is not actually unemployment. My organization don't actually believe there is unemployment in Nigeria. What we believe is that we only have unemployable graduates.
Right.
You know, our tertiary institution sector was so small structure in such a way that it has not been able to impact onto these young graduates the required skills, industrial skills. So what we do is that we visit these core members in camp. We sensitize them at first in camp. Then after camping exercise, we also visit the local government CDS, talk to them, all sorts of things like that. Then the second part, for working class that need upskilling, we visit the organizations.
We lost
With the head of the organization, then we tell them what's then we tell them what we want to offer. Then they help us to just bring out those workers or those staff that need upskilling, that need to add something to themselves. Then we move on from that. Then the undergraduate part of it is all about having some tutorial sections for undergraduate students. And with this, we visit their classes. We have our help actually in those schools. Then we use of social media also, online marketing, email marketing, and all those things like that. So that's how we get our people in the organization.
People. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing, Mr. Sam. Tumishe, I mean, your target audience, your people are, sorry, you train on financial modeling, basically. I would like to know how you get your target audience.
Okay. Thank you very much. Our target audience are students. You know, particularly I'm a student of the University of Benin. So our target audience are students. So what we do is this. Since we are
undergraduates, like undergraduates.
Yes, undergraduate. Yes, undergraduate.
Okay.
So what we do, we have a recruitment process. So we roll out our adverts, and then people who want to apply. So there is a form via which they will have to fill. So indicating their interest, why they should be selected, and their interest level. So, and also the area they want to specify on. We have investment banking, we have forex trading, we have career development generally. So then they fill those forms. So after weighing the form, looking into after examining the form, we look at we look at their interest level, so that we don't just have people who are just temporarily enthusiastic, and when they come in, they're not really passionate about what we are doing. So we use the form to examine their interest level, and then we invite them, those who we select for the second stage interview, we invite them over for a one-on-one interview. So we have our staff advisor, some of them who might be around during the physical interview. Then we have a one-on-one discussion with applicants, so to know their interest level. Then when we've examined them and have that interview with them, we get back to those who we discover are suitable to be a member of the organization. So that's how we.
All right, thank you for sharing. One more question. Do you have an objective means of knowing who is suitable for your training, or you just go through the forms and you can tell from what they have written?
Okay, now by objective means, because we are not looking for maybe ready-made students. We're not looking for those who already have the skill and the likes. So we don't really have an objective means whereby we're trying to say, okay, if you have a skill in Excel, then you'll be eligible. No. So we just need their interest, their desire. I want to know this thing. I want to understand what the financial market is all about. I want to become financially literate. I want to earn my skill. I want to learn Excel. I want to know how to carry out a PowerPoint presentation. So what we just want to, what we are looking for, I will just say, is at the beginning is subjective, which means we don't know who they are. They don't really have that objective skill or requirement, but then we are just looking for their mindset and their willingness to change, and upskill themselves. Yes, that's what we are looking for.
Thank you for sharing, Tumishe.
You're welcome.
Your mic, please.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much for sharing, Tumishe. That was really insightful. Also, Mr. Sam, also same thing. So, if you see the slide currently, we say finding applicants. How do you find it? How do we find our own applicants? How do you find your applicants? And you just told us where you get your target audience from. Knowing your target audience helps you know which channel to focus on, which channel or channels.
It's fine. I don't think you're as audible as you were.
Oh, I'm sorry, my mic is down. So I was saying that all of these questions right now just answered the how do you find your applicants, right? For us, how do we find our self-motivated and underserved youth? What channels do we use? We have various channels. If you have one channel and that channel is where your target audience is, then that's fine. Mr. Atim had said that his target audience was women who were underserved women and girls, and you go through community heads, right? We also use community heads to get people into our program, right? Mr. Sam said he uses core members. They're his target audience. Core members are his target audience. Sasumishi said that undergraduate students are his target audience. Now, in all of this, even when you get your target audience, there's still going to be some level of sieving, right? Some people will have to leave your program because you're not eligible, even though they're your target audience for what you are solving for. Eligibility into your program is also another question to answer, right? And so what do you do? Initially, when Wave started, it was the question of heart and mind. Oh, I think that, when you ask them some questions, the way they answer, their body language during interview phase, you can tell that, okay, this person is most likely to, to go through this training, right? But then we're documenting these things. So we had data that over time we will now look back and say, oh, this data is telling us that this might not be what we were thinking, and it might not be the accurate thing, and then we now have to rethink our plan, right? And so along that line, we now started using data. But the data didn't come from just, we didn't have data before. It was a case of heart and mind and just assuming that it might work. So we created a rubric, an admissions rubric. The rubric just answered 5 questions. I think they were desperation level, how desperate were they to. So when you ask them a question of, if you were offered a job of 20,000 naira, would you be willing to take the job, right? Some person will say, oh, I don't mind, I'll take it, right? But then when you look at it, in your mind, you'll be like, I don't think this one can take a job of 20,000 naira. The person is telling you that I can take that job of 20,000 naira. Now, when you not admit that person into the program, after the training, they get placed on that job, it might go one of two ways. At the end of the day, they might either end up taking that job of 20,000 naira, or they'll tell you tomorrow that, oh, the money will not be enough for me. By the time I calculate my transport fare, my feeding, this and that, the money has finished, and then they change their minds. So you see that was a flawed method. But as we were gathering data over the years, we're now able to tell whether or not, and I mean using the data, right? So it wasn't a case of, oh, I can't tell. Personally, I made there was when I was training in one of our academies in Lagos. We had an applicant, well, an admit, but I'm not in the admissions team. I was in the training team. And so the first day I saw this guy, I was like, this guy cannot go through this training. And I'm like, this guy, no, he looked like someone that was entitled and used to having his way. And I didn't think he would have the patience to go through the training. Training is rigorous. You have to stand for more than half of the day. Activities, 30 minutes break, sometimes 20 minutes break. Training was from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I was thinking, this guy, I don't think this guy can. But I never said it out. Day 1, day 2, this guy was selling training. Week 1, and funny enough, it was our, like, if we had like 3 best students, it was top 2 in class then. So I was thinking, okay, this is week 1. Week 1 is over. This guy is still in this program, right? Week 2, he's in this program. Job shadow. This guy went for job shadow. Graduation day. And I have to say it on the graduation that I didn't think that you would be able to go through complete this training, right? So that was me using my heart and mind. But then if I have data that tells me that, oh, if he can answer some questions or do certain assessments, and the result tells me that he's going to complete this training and get a job eventually and all of that, then I can't question it, as opposed to my gut feeling that tells me maybe or maybe not, right? So this guy graduated from training and got a very good job, and he's currently still under our wave canopy to get that. So, in as much as you know your target audience, you still need to put processes in place that will help you get the right fit for what you are solving for, unless you just end up having just anybody into your program, and then you'll be having random drop-offs and you don't know what's happening and what's causing them. So basically, knowing your target audience helps you know what channel you can get your people from. That's the first step anyway. Know your target audience, and then you move from there. Like I said earlier, one of our most effective channel is Alumni Referrals, right? And then I was looking for something online to help drive home that point, and I came across this chart. This is not our chart. I put it here because it is similar to what we do, right? So I want us to focus on alumni and family or friends. Now, alumni is 30.94%. Family or friend is 29.09%. Now, family and friend can fall under alumni because an alumni can be your friend, right? If I take half of these people here under family and friend and put them under alumni, you would notice that the alumni part is going to be bigger than the others, right? So my point I'm trying to make is alumni referrals, whether at Wave or anywhere else, is a very strong is a very strong tool of engagement. And that means that your alumni strength has to be satisfied. If your product does not work, if your product is not good enough, your alumni, this is going to suffer, which means that whatever it is you are selling, whatever product you are selling, it won't go far. If you have people who have used your product and they're satisfied with it, then they will tell other people, as opposed to adverts. I might see your ad on the TV or hear on the radio, and I'm, oh, interesting, and then it ends there, right? I might come across you in a conference I attend, right, and pick up your flyer and, oh, interesting, and dump it somewhere, and that's the end of it, right? Internet is also there. There are other things, but the alumni part family and friend, they hold a very strong percentage in making your organization thrive. And so we invest more in our alumni referrals. And that's not to say that the other parts are lacking or they are suffering. No, they all get attention, right? But alumni referrals happens to be our strong suit, and so we focus on it. I hope that's helpful. So basically, it's one of our most effective tools because nothing sells better than someone who has tried your product and is satisfied. If I'm okay with what you have sold to me, I will sell it to somebody else. In fact, I will carry it on my head like it's my own business. There are things that I've told my friends or my colleagues about, and to look as if I have a stake in it. I don't have a stake in it. I was just satisfied with the product, and that's why I'm telling you to go ahead and try this thing also, right? Um, I'd like to ask, um, any of us can answer. In terms of our channels, I mean, I think I'd like to ask Mr. Etim, who is community heads. I hope he's still on here. People who have used, who you've, the women and the girls that you've been able to empower, do they go on to tell other people about what you have done? Mr. Etim, is he still here? Can you all hear me, please? I hope I'm not.
Yes, I'm with you. Please come again.
Okay, so I was asking, so you had said initially that community heads were your primary people that you go to get people from, because they are the ones that you're, yes. So I was asking, the women and the girls that you have empowered, right? Do they go on to tell other people? Do you have that data that says that, oh, out of 200 women that we have empowered, 70 of them have gone on to tell other people who have successfully also come through the program? Do you have that data?
Okay, Me Africa Advocacy Group, it's a growing organization. We actually have not done much, but for the first two programs, we went through that channel.
Through the community health channel?
Yes, through the community health channel. And even the projects we are having at hand now to start up after the pandemic, it's still through the community health channel. Though for that one, we've already carried out the need assessment, which we went into the community itself and met with the women themselves, not the community head. But for you to carry out any project in any community, you still need to go to the community head. But for this one, we've already carried out need assessment with the women themselves. So I think from this particular training, I am getting more, will I say, more ideas to input into our activities. So for that question, I think I'll give you feedback. I'll be glad to.
No problem, it's fine. We're always here. Right, it's fine. Thank you. How about you too, Michelle? From the people that you have been able to empower with financial modeling and skills that you train on, do you have people from that pool who have told people about what you do and then they come in through a referral points?
Yes. Some persons will come and say, okay, this person was talking, and then he discovered that some of the skills that the person said he has gained and acquired was gotten from my organization. So he or she now decides to come around to join. So I've got referrals like that from those who we've trained, and then they refer some other persons too.
Okay, so I mean, it would be good to document so you can track how many people are coming from that point. So it will be helpful so that you would know, where you can focus, not focus your strength on. It doesn't mean that other places will suffer for it, but it just helps you know. Data helps you know what's going on with the things that you are doing in your organization. I mean, yes, you do. You put out adverts, you put out flyers and posters, but it will be good to know where your people are coming from places that you don't bother putting stress on. Does that make sense? Thank you. Mr. Sam, also, do you have any, I see your hand, Mr. Etim. Mr. Sam, do you have any anything to say about alumni referrals? Do you have people who refer people?
Yes, we even have alumni WhatsApp page for all
Awesome.
our alumni. And
Awesome.
frequently we share job adverts, we share some motivation to them, and we do follow up, strictly follow up. We check on them
Awesome.
for those that have been able to practice what they've learned in their classes. And there was even a time I was down as a person, I was unable to go to camp. But those that went to camp, to convey those corpers from camp to on those to the local government, especially on the West, they referred a lot of. In fact, they have even done most of the job on our behalf. What we just observed is that, well, the next training we just saw them coming in. I was like, how did they hear about us? We didn't go to the computer house. This person told us about you. This person told us, and it was wonderful. So on our alumni, we receive referrals. Even the last training I did at airport Akure, only one person got a link. Then through that one person, we received more than 20 people from that
Wow.
airport.
Interesting.
A person. So much believe in our that everything we have, we try to impart it on the first person we are able to get from that particular place. Because we know you're able to influence that person will bring more people to also be influenced. So that's it.
Thank you for sharing, Mr. Sam. Mr. Etim, your hand was up. Do you still have something to say?
Um, just based on what you've said so far, I actually am seeing more light in the alumni referral because before Me Africa Advocacy Group started its activities here in Cross River State, I've actually worked for a couple of NGOs, both in Cross River State and outside Cross River State. I want to
Mhm.
give an example from one of the NGOs I worked with, After School Center for Higher Development. Most of our programs, our mentoring programs, which we carried out here in Cross River State, after the first mentoring program, from the second one, we're actually getting mentees based on referrals. Once we throw out the advert, most of the persons the mentees that came to register for the program were being referred to us from the mentees from the first programs. Now, in this particular aspect, this alumni referral, I think it's very active. It's very
Yes.
active. It's more active when persons refer a product to you, products they've used and tried and it works for them.
Exactly.
So I just want to throw light on that. I'm seeing more sense. I'll call it that way in the
Alumni
presentation so far.
referrals.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing, Mr. Etim. All right. So, of course, um, using data to drive our outreach initiative. So the reason why I was asking that question is because, like I said, our organization will be 7 this year. And initially, like I had said earlier, it was a thing of us just using our heart and mind. In most cases, having scripted um, questions to ask, right? But as we're gathering that data, we're able to compile and then use the data to make our decisions now. So for the outreach level, when we collect our data from the outreach point, we start tracking that data until it gets to the final point of career services, right? So questions like asking them how they heard about our program helps us know. And that was how we're able to find out that our alumni referral happens to be our highest, our most effective means of getting people into the program, right? Asking them how they heard about our program, you get the number of people, the name of the person, how many of them, you track that data like that. And to be honest, it's not everybody that an alumni refers that would complete the training, right? Some of them will drop off for some random reason or the other, right? Um, like I also said, we have a funnel conversion. There is a drop-off rate that keeps happening. So from the outreach, when they come into the program, from the outreach point, info session, there'll be a drop-off rate. During the info session, they would have heard that, oh, the training is stressful, the salary, starting salary or the average salary is, let's say, 35 or 40,000 naira, and you're saying, no, I want to earn 70,000 naira, I can't go through this training, I can't go through this stress and then earn that kind of money, right? They are not seeing the big picture from their own end. There'll be drop off from there also. When they get into the program, on the day one on the orientation day of the program, when we are going through our contracts, our rules and regulation, our house rules, when they are hearing certain things, they'll be like, oh, this program is too strict. I cannot continue with this. They'll drop off also. That funnel, it keeps streaming. There'll be a drop-off rate. During the training also, from day 1 to day 14 of the in-house training, there'll be drop-off for different reasons. Some people run out of their points. Some people will infractions for one reason or the other. Some might not be able to continue. Some might fall ill. Some might even get jobs that they had applied for before, and it came through while they were training, and they'll now drop off and say, oh, they're coming back for that job. Many things will happen that will make them drop off from the training, and then that funnel just keeps happening. But then, while that funnel is happening, you also need to track it. It is very important. It helps you make informed decisions, right? During training, you notice that one trainee is not coming to class again, or didn't even come to class on this one day. You call the person, oh, you're not in class. What happened? We do that. What happened? And then they tell you the reason why they did not come to class. You are documenting it. When they run out of points, you are documenting it. Everything, you're documenting it. Because at the end of the day, you're going to use that decision, that data to make informed decision down the line. And so it is important that as you are knowing things like this, you are documenting it. No matter how little, no matter how minute it seems, you need to document it. Now, for those of us who are now saying, who have realized that, oh, alumni referrals actually seems to be an effective way of getting people in, I would urge us to start documenting. So when they tell you that, oh, I heard about this from someone, you need to take that data down. Even if it is 1, if it is 2, you need to take it down. It is very important to do, because at the end of the day, that data you're going to gather will help you now make informed decisions down the line. And if you're an organization that is relying on funding currently, that decision will, if you go and meet a funder and then you show them data, raw data, hard data, you can't dispute that data. Of course, they are most likely to buy into, if you have aligned missions, they are most likely to buy into what you are doing and then fund the program. Screening and assessment. Now, this is the second stage in our process. So after you get in your people, after the outreach team has brought in people from their different channels, you have to screen them and assess them, right? Now, remember I said that in as much as you know your target audience, you still have to put processes in place that would help you know who the right fit is, or the person who is the right fit for your program. Yes, your target audience, but are they the right fit for your own program? That's another question you have to answer. And so we have these assessments that will help. Like I had said earlier also, to get into the program, you would have to go through a numeracy and literacy assessment. It's just to be certain that you can read and write, because our minimum requirement is the secondary school the certificates. Now, knowing how our reality is in this country, we have some secondary school students who cannot read properly, who cannot write properly. And that is why we need to do this. We need to be certain, because even if you are going to get the various kind of job that we have to offer, you need to be able to at least do this, right? So assessment overview will test for hard skill, your work ethics, how you can work, interview you, cultural and cognitive behavior. With the assessment, that's for personality tests. We have various assessments for that. There are many free ones online that you can take that would help you. So we do all of this to help be certain that you meet what we want to get into our program. So basically, eligibility criteria has to be solved. Minimum requirements also has to be defined, and having data will help you to set all of these boundaries. Data is important, whatever it is, to help you set boundaries and help you know how to get people into your program. At the end of the day, our organization is very particular about data for everything we do. You'll be wondering, most times when we're turning out data, in fact, if you are not in the organization, you'll be wondering, what are they doing? They're calling out numbers. What do these numbers mean? But we seated there will know what's going on. So it is very important that, in as much as you want to do social good, you need to be data centric. It is very important that we are that. Job matching. Now, from the first slide I showed us our two the table of how we get people, of how our model works, right? And you notice that I skipped from admissions to job matching, and there's training in between. Now, the training is what we are going to be doing during the course of this 2-3 days that we have. It's going to be an immersion kind of training, so it is not a function of me omitting it while doing the training ourselves. We all of us here will be immersed in what the training is like, and so that is why we don't have training here. And we're moving straight from admissions to job matching. Now, basically, job matching is successfully matching both the candidates and the employers. You successfully match them. And for you to successfully match them, it means that you have to have tools that can solve for both ends. Whatever it is that an employer says they want must be what the candidate has. And then if that candidate has it, the matching will be successful, right? And so we have a team in our organization that handles this. So we have the Courier Services team, we have the Courier Services and Employer Partnership team, and we have the Wave Recruiting. Now, these guys, what they do is handle the trainees who are finally graduated and who are now alumni of the program, right? So they manage employer partners. So we have currently in our pool, we have over 300 employer partners, and these guys have been partners. Most of them are partners with us from our day one, right? So we have the team that manages them, and also the same team manages the alumni, and they're able to, to merge them together and make sure that the matching is compatible and both parties are happy at the end of the day. So the tools that we use for this is, we have different tools. So we have the BERC, we have Course Core. We used to have one called Brit, but we don't use that anymore. And like I had said also, there are many free assessments online that you can use to help you deliver this assessment. We don't have to use paid ones. We've gone to the point where we now have a large pool of alumni, and that's why we're using these paid services. I mean, there's a limitation to what you can use with free services, and that's how we're using paid services now. Right, so the tools test for all of this: behavioral, technical, computer literacy skills, cognitive abilities, and grit. There are different tools that you can use to test for all of that. High retention rate is from successfully matching an alumni to an employer. And to this end, relationship management is key, as it's what keeps you in business. If you are not able to manage your employer partner and your candidates, your alumni, there'll be a problem. There'll be friction at the end of the day, right? So how do we make sure that this thing is not there, this problem is not there? We make sure that we get these employers the people that they want, that have the skills that they say they need, right? And so in our assessment testing, let's say an employer wants a candidate that has at least 3 skills. They want 5 other skills, in total, 5 skills in total, but they must have at least 3, because they feel like, okay, the other 2 can be learned while they're on the job. And so we must find that candidate for them that has those 3 skills that they want, the least 3 skills that they want, and then match them to that employer. Any questions? Mr. Tsumishe, I'd like to ask, at the end of your program, right, with the core members, what is the end game for them when they are done with your program?
Okay. At the end of our training, because I told you that we put them through some career parts too, on how to leverage on LinkedIn, on how to write a CV, also take an interview. So basically that's where we stop, though currently we are trying to see how we can build more relationship with financial institutions, currently I'm an ambassador, campus ambassador to Afri Invest West Africa. That's an investment bank in Nigeria here. So I'm looking at putting up a partnership with them. So if we can just have 1 month internship, with them. So each time we are done with a training, maybe some of our best students may just recommend them like that. So we are still looking at building those relationship with those employers.
Okay, so yeah, okay, they are still in the phase of building relationship with employer partners, which is fine.
Exactly.
Thank you for sharing. Mr. Bolarin, what do you have anything to share? What's your end game for? Okay, so that was for undergraduates. For the core members, what's your end game for them when they are done with the training? Is he still here?
That's after we've trained them, right?
Yes. What's next for them? What shows that what you have done, what you have trained them on has been successful?
The thing is, last year we started an initiative, though none of them have been able to opt in for it, and that's internship opportunity. And after we train them, we tell them that this is not. It not depends on the organization they are affiliating to, either to pay them or not to pay them. But we make sure that they look for placements. We give them letter to look for placements, just for 2 weeks, because we believe that experience is very important. Even after they have been trained, they still need to acquire some experiences, especially those that are not serving in production company. Most of them are serving in school. So those people that are not serving in those places, we just tell them to embrace that internship so that they can acquire first-hand experience in what they have been taught.
Okay, thank you. So you had said that none of them have applied for the internship opportunities. Did you ask them to know the why?
Yes.
They're not interested.
Nigeria factor. Some of them are saying that we don't have time. They're looking for money. After passing out, we just go look for money. And with that, that's why even if it was as a result of that, we started this business training with them. This small business, so that while serving, they can still be earning small money by doing importation, all this small money or small service they can still be doing, so that they won't be feeling, because we so much believe in skills. So we always tell them to acquire the skills, then the money will follow. But in Nigeria factor now, some of them will prefer to follow the money, then later they will start chasing the skills. But that's not the first thing to do. The skills first, then the money will follow.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Mr. Etin, how about you?
Hello.
Okay, we can hear you. Yes, we are here. I don't know if you are talking right now, but we can't seem to hear anything. Mr. Etim? Okay, so I guess we'll come back to him telling us about what the end game for their participants are at the end of the day. So we'll just move on to the next slide, our employer partners. Now I'll talk about our employer partners and then our career services. Now, these are the steps we use in matching employer partners to candidates, right? I had said earlier that there is the candidate is going to do a series of assessments, competency assessments, so that when we are matching them to their employer, it is an objective matching. It is not a function of I feel like, if you say to us that, okay, I want to be a front desk, and we realize that where your strengths lie is being a kitchen assistant, we will just show you a result that, look, this is what your competency assessment says, right? And if you know you want to move to the point of being a front desk officer, you probably have to work your way up there and hone your skills on that. Mr. Esim, are you ready? Hello, Mr. Etim. I guess your audio is acting up again. Um,
Yeah,
okay,
I'm with
I
you.
guess
Hello.
okay, all right. Thank you. So I was asking, what is the end game for your participants of the women and the girls that you empower? What is the end game for them after empowering them?
Okay, the end game is this. Aside carrying out the vocational skill training, we're also trying to see how we'll get sponsors, like for the ones that will partake in, let's say, the tailoring, how to sew, for the ones that will be doing the interior decoration, and the participants for the event decoration also. So we are looking for partners and sponsors in which after the training, they can also own their own businesses. Like for the ones that will be participating for the tailoring aspect, the fashion design, we are looking for partners to see how we can get them this sewing machine. So
Okay.
the end game will just be at the end of the day, they have their own business, not just training them and leaving them. You
Yeah.
train them and you equip them with the equipment they need to start up their own business.
Mhm.
Then from there we can see how we monitor and help them grow their
Track
business.
the. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
All right. So yeah. So basically, for you to successfully match a candidate to an employer, you need to have. It will be helpful to have competency tools that you can use, so that you can objectively match them, as opposed to going with gut feeling or what they say they want to do. What you say you want might not be what you really want. We have employers who have come to us and say, I need somebody who has a first class or a 2-1 in this and that. I need somebody who is, they list all of these things. And then when we now deep dive and ask specific questions, we now realize that what you actually want is somebody who can communicate effectively, someone who can manage a team, and someone who can manage your organization when you are not around. Not necessarily. So the point is the fact that you have a 2-1 as a degree does not mean that you can get the job done, or you are equipped to work in this field, right? There are certain skills you need to be able to get the job done. If you don't have them and you have a 2-1 or a first class and you finish from you have a BSc in maths and statistics, all those ones will not matter if you cannot keep the job with the soft skills that you're supposed to have, right? And so when we deep dive by asking these employers what exactly it is that they want, realize that what they want is somebody who can communicate effectively, someone who can problem solve. Anybody who is paying salary today is paying because you can solve problems that they have. They are paying to solve their problem, to do things for them, right? And so we have to help them answer this question before we now go ahead and match them to the right candidates, right? So basically, we identify potential partners and vacancies. I said earlier that we have employer partners, and so from there we initially how did we even get to that point of having over 300 employer partners? First of all, so initially for us, it was a case of cold calling. So we would research organizations online, reach out to them via email or phone calls. We would go to organizations like walk-ins and speak to them, sell what we have, tell them what we do, right? And it started that way initially, right? And a couple of them were interested, right? And then they started bringing their needs to us. We're solving their problems, giving them good stuff for their businesses. Businesses were growing, and then they were searching out our product. And what did they do? They started telling people about Wave, and that was how we started growing our employer partner. It wasn't that we got the 300 by ourselves. No, majority, and that speaks to um, referrals also. If someone is satisfied with what you are doing, they're going to refer you. We didn't grow the 300 partners organically. We did not. Referrals were there. Of course, we put adverts out, yes, but then referrals also played a key a key role in increasing our employer partnerships, and that helps us also. So that was how we're able to. We have other means of getting employer partners, and that's how we're able to grow our employer partnership. Now we don't really do more. They come to us now. Matter of fact, they come to us. Oh, I need. And initially, we didn't used to charge them for our services, but now we charge them and they pay. If our services was not satisfactory, they would not pay for it, but then they pay. And that speaks to the fact that our service is satisfactory, right? So basically, you want to identify who your potential partners are. And by identifying these potential partners, you want to know, is this the kind of organization I want to send my people to, right? I mean, we have had clubs, nightclubs come to us that they want us to help us fill their vacancy. We don't cater to nightclubs. And we tell them, oh, sorry, well, we don't cater to night. We don't have our alumni work night duty in clubs. We don't do that. Right? So, I mean, identifying who your partners are, it has to be a mutual understanding. It has to be that you both have the same mission. You are solving for the same thing. So that at the end of the day, you don't end up posting your people to places that they'll be complaining about tomorrow and they are not happy. The employer too is not happy, and then there'll be friction, and then it just basically spoils the whole relationship on both ends, both the supply and the demand side at the end of the day, right? And then get to know your partner. You want to know what it is that your employer partner does. How do they treat their staff? And do they cater to their welfare and all of that? Because you don't want to put your people in a place where tomorrow and they'll call you and say, oh, this our boss is doing this and that to us. If any of our alumni calls us to complain about anything, we'll go and we'll investigate. If we find out that this employer is really not being nice to this person as a staff member, we'll pull them out. If the staff member is the one that is being the challenge or the problem, we'll have the employer partner take the um, measures that they want to take to solve that problem, right? So you want to know who your partner is, so that at the end of the day, you can vouch for your partner. And that's why one of the things that we do when we place our alumni on job is we have them sign agreement. It's called the tripartite agreement, a three-way agreement. So that agreement is between WAVE, the employer partner, and our alumni, right? Also, understand the recruiting need and the vacancy. Understand what the vacancy says. If the vacancy says that the job is from 8 a.m. in the morning to 8 a.m. the following morning, I mean, that's slavery. That's not a humane job to send someone to. So you need to understand what the vacancy is about, what the job entails. Can this person do this job? You go and check the candidates that you have. Do they match the job that this employer wants? And then when you do that, you are now able to shortlist for that employer partner. Shortlisting is getting at least 5 candidates who meet the needs of what this employer wants, and then you send the information to the employer partner. They in turn would look through what you have sent. So what you have sent, we'll go through that later in the classes. CV, assessment results, and elevator pitch. So for all our trainees, while you are in training in our program, you are going to do an elevator pitch. You sell yourself in 30 seconds to a potential employer, right? So we send this information to the employer partner. Then they will now pick who they want, right? Now, shortlisting will not entail us sending. They will pick who they want from the shortlisted list, from the shortlisted people that you have sent to them, and then you will now send the information to the candidates, right? Now, in sending information to the candidate, they want, out of the 5 names that you send to the employer partner, they probably want 3 persons from there. You send the 3. Now, in sending those 3 candidates, you are going to tell them what they need to do, the time of the interview, the location, what they need to wear, what the job entails, and they also have to go and research the organization. They have to go and research the organization. They're also going to do like a mock interview. I think that's later in the day. We'll talk about that later. So you want to, after the final selection, those who have successfully gone through the interview phase and they've been offered the job, you let the alumni know, give them the information, and then share the resumption date with them, the location, then you sign an agreement. I've talked about sharing the tripartite agreement, which happens to be an agreement between the employer partner, WAVE, and the trainee, the alumni, as the case may be, the candidate. So everybody will sign this agreement. After this is done, this is like a handshake. You now impute your data into the dashboard. Now we have a dashboard. I will show us a sample of what our dashboard looks like. Just give me a few. I want to just quickly show us an example of what our dashboard looks like. Can we see my screen currently?
Yes, yes.
Can you see the Wave quarterly dashboard?
No.
Okay.
I'm only seeing the employment partner.
Okay. I'm going to share that with us now. Can we see that now? The current screen?
Yes, 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 you can see it now.
So this dashboard is an organizational dashboard, right? So this is our dashboard from 2015. And this was when Wave started, right? You can see the outreach part. Can you see my cursor? You can see the outreach part, alumni referral. Now, as at 2015, we had reached out to 4,860 people. Now, of this and this is the funnel I was talking about, so please take note. Out of these 4,860 people, we had 1,620 that were interested in the program. You are seeing how the funnel is reducing. Now, of these 1,620 that were interested in the program, we now had 540 that showed up for info session. Now, after these guys now show up for info session, of all these people that showed up, 540 people that showed up, 270 applied into the program, applied to join the program. I hope you can see the screen. Please indicate. I need to be sure that. Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. All right, so basically what this information tells us is that for you to get 270 persons to apply to our program, it means that you have to reach about 5,000 people. This is the conversion rate for reaching 5,000 people. So of these 5,000 people that are going to reach, 270 are those that we apply. Now, apply is the key word. There's still the training that is going to go on. There's going to be a drop-off rate during the training, right? Now, in January of 2015, we had 252 applicants. Now, for us to have gotten this number of applicants, it means that they reached, is similar to the number that we have initially, 270. So it means that they reached about 4,000 plus people for them to have gotten to 252 applicants. Now, of these 252 applicants, the eligible ones out of them were 216. It means that if you minus 216 from 252, the difference of those people there were ineligible for the program. Now, in percentage, that means that we had 86% eligibility rate for these applicants. Now, going further, the number of assessed applicants in round one, people that showed up in the first phase of the assessment, out of these 216, we are 150. That's another reduction in the funnel conversion. Now that's 69% of the numbers. Now, of these 150, people that showed up for the second assessment were 48. Now, please remember that the initial number was 252. Now, what this is just telling us is you might have a lot of people who will be interested in your products, but the number of people that would actually follow through will be drastically reduced for some reason or the other. Now, I can tell you for a fact that of these 252 candidates, there is a reason, we have a documented reason as to why they didn't make this 48 cutoff, the 48 numbered people here, right? Now, out of these 48, out of people that showed up at the second round of assessment, 47 people were admitted into the program. So these 47 people, we gave them admission letter. Congratulations, you've been admitted into the WAVE program to start on blah, blah, blah dates. we have 47 people who were given. Now, of these 47 people who were given, all of them accepted. So it means that 47 of them accepted the letter. All of them were okay with the letter and everything. And then on orientation day, now orientation day is the day before the first day of training. It's the day we'll come and talk about what the program is about in proper. We'll go through our contract, our rules and regulations. Now, of these 47 people who accepted the admission, 30 of them showed up on orientation day. Now, they would have called them, the remaining 17 of them, to ask them why they did not attend orientation. And the reasons that they gave were documented also. And so what we have here is 64% acceptance rate from those that were given the letter. 64% of them accepted it. And then on day one, training day one, the same number, 30 of those people that said yes, they would attend on orientation day, came back on day one. Now, this is the funnel conversion for our admissions, our associate and admissions department. If we go further into the training dashboard, we will also see the breakdown and the funnel conversion. And that is further down into this dashboard. But this is just an overview of what a dashboard should be. For every detail, every data that reduces from whatever it is you are doing, it has to be documented. It helps you when you are telling your story of your organization, or when you are selling what you do to somebody. Any questions, comments? You can ask them now. Questions, comments? Right. Okay, so we have talked about employer partners. Now we're going to talk about career services. Now, employer partner is the demand side of our organization. Career services is the supply side. They are the guys that will supply the candidates to the employer partners, right? Now, this service offers three categories. So we have the pre-match, we have the matching phase, and then the post-match. Now, the pre-match phase basically is about CV preparation, elevator pitch, and assessments, right? So during the course of the training, before these guys are handed over to career services, that's the alumni, during the training, we train them on how to write a CV, an entry-level CV, because the jobs that we offer, primarily, are entry-level jobs. And so we train them on how to write an entry-level CV, right? They would reflect their skills. And this tells you, during the course of the training, they would have been self-aware. They now know their strengths and weaknesses. And them knowing it is a tool for them, because it helps them know how to sell themselves better, right? And so we help them prepare their CV, and then by the time they are getting to career services, they have their CV ready. They also have their elevator pitches. So in 30 seconds, you record these pitches for them per person, 30 seconds, sell yourself. Now, this is for the employer partners. So over time, we realize that when we send candidates to our employer partners, they usually say, oh, this person, she was okay or he was okay, but she had a diction, or maybe she had a H factor or a R factor, right? So when they listen to the elevator pitch, they can eliminate all those challenges before they will pick that person for that job. Communication, confidence level, and all of that. Now, confidence level is not actually a bad thing, right? If they see that, I mean, you pass every other thing, where you're not a people person, they'll probably put you in a back office role. So it doesn't affect your chance of getting a job in any way. That's for us anyway. Next is the mock interview. Now, remember I said these are all pre-interview phases. Now, mock interview has to do with Career Services would have this mock interview session, and this is just to help them be better when they get to the real life interview. Because when they do the mock interviews, all the things that we see that is wrong with what is going on during the interview, we give them feedback on them, how they can do better, how they can be better, and then we will help them gain a bit more confidence when they want to go for the interview proper. It helps them when they are, it helps their state of mind basically when they want to go for the interview proper. So we conduct mock interview with them and then we give them feedback to help them. We also, like I said, administer competency assessments. We would have done this, from day one. They'll be doing series of assessment and it's just checking their progress, right, up until the point where they get career services. Now, by the time they get career services, they will have a stronger assessment that they can do, bearing in mind that they have gone through the training, and it will now help them. It will be data driven so that they don't come and tell us, oh, I want to do front desk, I want to do something to that. But meanwhile, your result says that you can be a waiter or a kitchen assistant or any other thing but this. It shows them objectively. This is the result of what you did. You're not the ones even marking it. Your computer is marking. You're even seeing your score anyway. You see your score yourself. So, nobody's arguing with anybody about what their result is or what their score is. So it helps you when you have an objective assessment administered to your candidates. It helps them better and helps your organization also. We also have Career Services Day. Basically, after when they graduate, we hand them over to Career Services, and these guys will tell them what is expected from them before they are placed on a job and when they are eventually placed on a job. It would help them know what employers want from them, right? If there are things that you still need to go and grow yourself on, upskill yourself on, they will tell you what it is on this day, right? And then they'll also share with you additional resources that will help you get jobs. So, in as much as we help with job placement, we don't advise you to rely solely on that. We advise you to try yourself applying for jobs. It would help you down the line. Because if we tell you that the jobs that we have for you, average salary is, let's say, 40K, and you feel that, oh, during the course of this training, you have learned so much that you think you can earn a 70K job, then by all means, you should go and look for that kind of job yourself. We encourage them to do that, and in most cases, they actually do that. They get these jobs themselves, and then they come and tell us, oh, I've gotten a job, this is how much I'm being paid. Because, of course, they have to pay us back our money. We don't charge them upfront for pay for the training. They pay after they have gotten a job, and they don't pay at once. They pay in 3 months. If you can afford to pay at once, it's fine. But if you cannot afford to pay at once, you pay within 3 to 6 months, depending on what is stable for you, right? So Career Services will tell them all of these things on this day. Questions, comments? We've explained this, how during the employer partner explanation, we announce the vacancy to an alumni, we shortlist them for the employer partners, send them for interview and get feedback from the partner to know whether or not they can proceed with the job. We enter the feedback into alumni database. That's the same thing as, you could use a dashboard for that also, right? If you have a growing organization, you have a small organization, a dashboard will work for this, because you can impute it manually or one by one, so it's not difficult. We said that when we started, we started using a dashboard, right? But as we grew in number and in size, we now have to move to a software called Salesforce. It's a paid-for software, and so that's what we use now. But when we started initially, we were using dashboard to document data and everything that was being done in the organization. Inform them of the interview, tell them what they should do, the kind of business, the dress code. If you have an idea of the routes they can take to get to that place, the easy routes, you share the information with them also. Tell them about the employer, and also have them research the organization so that they can answer or ask questions based on that. Provide interview candidates with pre-interview toolkit to talk about this also, interview feedback. And then we have alumni support. Now, Alumni support, this is a big part of our organization, right? It's a big thing for us because, like I said in the beginning of this class, I had said that alumni referral is key. It's a key thing for us because it happens to be one of our most effective means of how of getting people into our program, right? And so one of the things we do to support the alumni also is that we organize workshops for them, free workshop. We don't we will get professionals in different fields. We will pay them, but the alumni will come for the workshop and it's free for them. We pay them in most cases. That's the who will call to come and speak to them. The guest speaker will send the alumni the information, usually once a month, once a quarter. We do it once a quarter. So workshop, master classes, we organize it for them. And we usually find it usually helpful for them. In most cases, we have done um, master classes and workshops on bookkeeping, um, um, financial sustainability, bartending. Well, they are really interesting class because I've been opportunity to sit in a couple of them. We also have some events for alumni. So we have during our anniversary, we usually invite in fact, usually for them. Anniversary is for them. Our wave anniversary, we invite all our alumni, they attend it. We also do like a some of them have like side hustles, or some of them have gone into their own businesses. So they pitch their businesses and we usually give money prizes to the winner of whatever it is that you have pitched. It happens there right there on the spot. You have judges that will pick who the winner is and all of that. We do this yearly, to help them, to encourage them in whatever it is that they are doing. We have end of the year parties for them. At the end of the year, we organize parties strictly for them. There is no staff member, just the alumni department that handles that. Just fun for them to come and have fun. So we have a very strong and engaging alumni pool because they are the ones that that really help us make what we do happen and succeed to a large extent. I think that's about it for today on this course. Thank you very much. Questions, comments? Audio.
Thank you. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much. I am sure that was an intensive session, and I'm sure you were all jotting things that. Okay, one has feedback. So easy to understand. That was awesome. Exactly. I am sure you're already comparing it to your organization, what you do, and seeing how you can improve what you do. Please do not worry, do not fret. That's why we are here, okay? Everything Ifeanyi has shared, after the training, we will walk you through on how, if you decide to implement any part of it, we'll walk you through on how you can, whether it's building dashboard, whether it's supporting your alumni, whether it's job matching, whatever it is, we'll walk you through it, how you can do that and all that. So not to fret, not to worry, we got you. Okay, so the time is currently 12:15. And we're going to take like a 10-minute break. So you can go and take your tea, your coffee, and all that. The class is going to end by 1. Exactly 1 will be done. Okay, so when we come back, we'll just do a preamble of communication to see what communication looks like, why we take communication, what we hope to achieve, and all that. So we are just going to take 10 minutes break, and we'll be back by 12:25 to continue, do preamble of communication, and by 1 p.m. on the dot, we are out of here. So go and get your coffee, get your water, get Coke, get your beer, Gouda, anyone you take, and let's see again by 12:25. All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, I think it's time. Where's everyone? It's 10 minutes past. Just signify if you're back on. I know Ifeanyi is here. Mr. Olalu, are you back? Mr. Bolanwa, are you back? Mr. Etim left, so we will have to put a call through to tell him to come back to class. We are. It's time to get back to class. It's time to get back to class. Let's just wrap this session up. Hello, everyone.
Mr. Tumishe is here, Mr. Sam is here. So we have a team left. I said Mr. Tumishe and Mr. Sam is here.
Okay, I think Mr. Etim is waiting to join. Yep. I just admitted him. Yep. So yes, he's back. So can you indicate it? Aha, okay, Mr. Ola is here, Mr. Baranwa is here, and Mr. Etim is here. Thank you. Welcome back. I hope you have your coffee, your tea, your water, something next to you, just chilling with it. Okay, if not that is this virus now, I would have given refreshments. But it's okay, it's fine, it's okay. Sending you refreshments all across. Okay, thank you, Ifeanyi, for the previous session. Thank you so much. So we're going to go straight into the models. Okay, so Ifeanyi had explained about the how outreach, how we get people, and the training part. So what we'll be doing for the next 3 days is the training part. The job matching part, the screening part is something that we can walk you through when you go back to your organization. But the training part will go through our models, our curriculum, what we train on, why we train on it, and how we train on it. Okay, let's even start. Why did we decide to train on soft skills? Please ensure that if you can't hear me at any point, please leave a comment in the comment section. Okay, so why did we even decide soft skills at points? So remember that we interface with employers. So when we started, we were looking at how do we level the playing field for these underserved youths? How do we give them access to job opportunities? For us to do that, we had to meet employers and ask them questions. So we don't just design a program or an intervention that is exclusive of stakeholders. So this talks to you as well as a design intervention, whether it's financial literacy, whether it's teaching soft skills to graduate, whether it's helping young people, women. You have to think about the stakeholders, other stakeholders as well, to be sure that what you're designing, your intervention, is actually what they need. So we went on to do a survey. We asked employers, what's the problem you're having with hiring people? What challenges do you face? So when we asked them, we started hearing things like, oh, they cannot communicate properly. They don't have body language. They are not neat. They are not tidy. They don't know how to work in a team. They are not team players. They don't know how to collaborate. They don't know how to manage expectations. If they're not going to show up at work today, they don't know how to tell people that they won't show up at work. Things like that. And we realize that these are things that they don't teach in schools. And I'm sure Mr. Balarinwa can relate to this because you deal with soft skills as well. These are things that they don't teach in schools. Of course, they teach you the necessary skills, the technical skills, some of it. They teach you some of those skills. You get a certificate for accountancy, but they don't teach you how to keep your job. And most of the times we realize that when people get fired, yes, Mr. Bolarinwa, exactly. When people get fired, most times than not, they don't get fired because they do not have the skill set. Most often times they get fired for the soft skills that they're not exhibiting. Take for instance, they come to work late. Take for instance, they don't do their tasks on time. Take for instance, they don't relate to their teammates, their colleagues. They don't have good relationship with their colleagues, or they don't know how to communicate. They don't teach that in universities. So we decided, okay, let universities do their thing while we fill in the gap, the bridge, that gap of soft skills. Let's fill it up. So we started to train. So when we asked employers, we asked them, what top skills would you like to see? The soft skills you like to see in these young people. And they said skills like communication came up, problem solving came up, emotional intelligence came up, managing expectations came up, and teamwork alongside others. So that was how we started to form our own curriculum based on feedback that we've gotten from employers as our stakeholders. So we designed our curriculum based on that. Now, how do we even deliver this curriculum? Now, that's the why, right? How do we deliver this curriculum? So we realized that the traditional school system, when they teach or when they train, it's such that the teacher hammers the knowledge down. You have to take it. You cannot argue with your teacher. You cannot say, I disagree. You hammer it down, take it or leave it. This is the truth, and that is it. I am the final say. Okay, and we've come to realize that the result effects that people cram these things. People just take head knowledge. They don't imbibe it. They just cram. And because we train on soft skills, we cannot afford for our young people to be cramming it. We need them to be able to exemplify these skills, not just for themselves, but for our own sakes as well, because they represent our brand. So if we say we train somebody from Wave, we trust and hope that you learned everything we train on, so you can go on to other organizations to exemplify it. Please, if I'm speaking too fast, kindly let me know. So we said, okay, how do we make sure we train? So we started to train. We train in a model called, I'm sure you know, discussion-led training. So it's a training that involves everyone share what they know. Because these young people, you'll be amazed at what they know. And remember that it's their experience. You're trying to teach them something based off of their own experience. So you cannot hammer something down on them based on your own experience, but it's based on their experience, based on where they're coming from. So we decided to use discussion-led mode of training. It's interactive. So there'll be lots of games in the class, lots of activities, lots of laughter and fun. It's interactive. Everyone can talk. So if you have a question, ask. No question is stupid. Say what you are thinking, no matter how ridiculous it might sound. It's activity-led, mobile. What this means is that sometimes we'll get up in the class and we'll do childlike activities, run around in class. And these are people that are between the ages of 18 and 35, by the way. So they're not kids. We'll do activities, run around, move up and down in class. Because when people learn, people remember what they practice more than what you tell them. So we aim to see how we put classes that they can practice, move around in class, do things and all that. And there are lots of collaboration in our learning. So we are not just telling you. So there are lots of times we'll break the class and say, turn to your neighbor, spend 10 minutes and discuss. Or we'll say, form a group of 20, go and do an activity outside. So it's actually an interesting session. So most of the time when we ask them how they felt, they've never experienced learning like this, learning that is activity-led, that is discussion-led, that is practice-led. The downside to these virtual classes, if we were doing the TOT physically, you were present in our office, we would actually take this session like you were a trainee, not as a replicator. So you will do everything that these young people will do. So because we want you to get a sense of it, for you to feel it and understand why we do it like that. So we actually do the activities and they're actually fun and interesting. However, because it's a virtual class, we have tried to switch the activity to virtual activities. So there'll still be virtual activities in this class. I implore you to try, enjoy the activities, be part of the activities, because the way the world is going, eventually we might be looking at going virtual for most of our processes, and your organization are not exempted. If that's the case, if we are looking at that, if that's the case, then that means that you need to also learn some virtual training tips from here, some activities and all that. So we are here to help you. I'll stop there to see if there are any questions at this point. Any questions? And yeah, any questions?
None for now.
Yes.
None for now.
Thank you, Mr. Etim. Okay. All right. So we are starting with communication. I'm working with time, so I'm ensuring that I will leave here on or before 1 p.m. Okay. We are going to start with communication. Okay. I think if I had the slides up, if I can help us with the slides, remember not to worry. We will share our curriculum with you. The curriculum, the slides if I shared in a session, we will share with you as well. We are here for you. We are not hiding anything from you. You are our partners right now. So our organization is yours. So if you feel there's any intricacy you want to learn, as soon as we have it documented, we are going to share with you. So if at any point you need something, kindly let me know. Shoot me an email, call me. I need this. I'm going to share with you at every point. So curriculum will be shared, every slide will be shared. So not to worry. Okay. So if you need anything at any point, holler at me. I'm your girl. I'll send it to you. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, we'll start with communication, and because of we are pressed for time, we will not waste time and we'll just start with the first part of communication. Remember, I've told you why we take the class and how. Okay, so we'll just run you through the content. So this is how the session will go. I'm sure this content is not new. Some of you know how to communicate already, at least. Yes, you know how to communicate, and you deal with young people already. So this things are not new. So we will not be spending so much time dwelling on the content of the curriculum because you will get the curriculum, okay? So we'll not spend so much time. We're talking about more of how we take it and why we take it like that, okay? So for every component of communication, before I explain the content, I will explain why and how we take it. All right, so the more focus will be how and why we take it, not on the content in itself, because it has been broken down to be very simple and easy to assimilate, because people we deal with are from underserved areas. If you're in Lagos, you know places like Makoko, like all the underserved areas. So we try to make the content as simple and easy to understand. So it's quite easy. All right, so we'll go on to communication. I've explained to you why we started to take this class. Because employers said they needed people to communicate. And it's only understandable because all the roles we have, apart from a few, you need to be able to communicate. Think, whether you're a front desk person, customer service, waiter or waitress, housekeeping, you need to be able to communicate because you are more or less in the forefront of the business. And when we say communicate, we don't mean I can say my name. No, we mean you can communicate verbally and non-verbally. Your non-verbal, you are conscious of what your non-verbal is saying. You can not just string a sentence, but a sentence that the other person can understand what you mean. And if you know, I'm glad we all deal with young people here, so we understand how important this is, particularly for millennials. So even those in university, by the time you engage with a young person, you are wondering what's going on. Why are you can't seem to communicate properly? I'll give you an example, a typical example. I think it was last year. It was late last year. Myself and Ifeanyi had to go and speak. We had to train. We were invited to train young people. I think they were young school graduates. They just finished school, and they were looking to get a job. So we were asked to go there and train them, or just speak on what we do and train on communication. I think. Okay, Mr. Tumisha, I say you all right. And we were told to do that. So okay, we went. And then when we got there, young people, they were all between the ages of 18 and 23, thereabout. And we started to ask them, we were trying to engage them. I remember I asked this lady then that, all right, you're looking for a job. So what role are you looking for? And she said she's looking for the role of a manager. Okay, I said, all right, manager. What's yours? Okay, so if I hire you as a manager, what will you be doing for me? And she said, I'll just be managing people for you. I will be bringing your documents for you. I will ensure that I'll be talking to people on your behalf. So you don't need to talk to people. I'll be talking to people for you. So when she said that, I remember even the organizers were pretty surprised. They were like, why are you talking like this? You're a young person. You can't properly articulate why you should be hired as a manager. But these are just some of the issues that young people are facing. So we said, okay, let's begin to train on communications. How do we teach people what they say, how they to say what they intend to say, and the implications of not communicating properly. Okay, so I think at this point we'll just go to definition of communication. If I'm sure because objective we'll see that yeah. So this is what we empty here. What is communication? So here we try when we ask them what is communication, we don't just say define it for them. Like we don't just say, oh, by the way, communication is this and this and this. No, we try to ask them what they think communication is. Okay, and you begin to hear different explanation. Oh, communication is this, communication is that. They begin to share their ideas, what they think communication is. Okay, and it's imperative that you ask them what they think. What do you think communication is? Or what do you think, even if you're teaching them financial management, what do you think financial independence is? What does it mean to you? What does it think? What do you think it is? Or have you heard the word before? They can share their ideas, what they think. And sometimes you are amazed at what they are telling you. They will tell you things that you probably did not even, you didn't know. Like, so you are amazed at what they share. So here for us, communication is the transmission of information and feelings from one person with or without words. And yeah. Then this is at the point that we ask a question. I'm going to ask us that question right now. Okay. Can you communicate with yourself? I'm asking everyone in this room. Can you communicate with yourself? If we have said communication is the transmission of information, feelings from one person to another with or without words, I always ask this question: can we communicate with ourselves? Is it possible to communicate with yourself? Anyone can speak up at this point. Can we communicate to ourselves? Mr. Alo, okay, we see you. Welcome back. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's very possible to communicate with yourself. Like I feel most times before you speak out, you need to communicate with yourself internally first and know exactly what you're saying. Like this saying goes, you think before you talk. So I think it's also a part of communication, communicating with yourself.
oh, okay. We have Mr. 18 says it's possible to communicate with yourself because whatever you say, you'd have thought about it in your heart or your mind before you say it. Okay, someone else, can we communicate with ourselves? Is it possible to communicate with yourself? Anybody?
Okay.
Yes.
I believe it's not totally possible to communicate with yourself because communication has to do is between two or more persons. There must be a receiver, there must be a giver, and there must be a receiver. So you can't be giving and receiving at the same time. So I don't think it's possible to communicate with yourself.
Okay. Okay, we have somebody saying you can't communicate with yourself. This is getting interesting. All right. Someone else, you have an opinion. Can you communicate with yourself? Anyone else? Okay. So the thing is, usually when we train, these trainees actually expect us to have the answers. So they are waiting for my opinion. So they'll say, at this point, they'll ask, so Amina, what do you think? Is it possible? So it's not all the time I actually had the answers, okay? But I know that there have been arguments. People argue, these arguments have been ongoing. Some people agree that you can communicate with yourself. Some people say you can't. Some people say when we communicate with ourselves, what we actually do is called soliloquy. So it's not actually communication. That to communicate, you have to be able to communicate from one person to another. However a case may be, it's worth thinking about. Again, it's worth going to research on if it's even possible at all. But thank you for your contribution at this point. So yeah. So we have two types of communication. There's the verbal part and there's the non-verbal part. There's the verbal communication, which is what we will focus on for the better part of today and then tomorrow. And then there's the non-verbal communication. Initially, we were thinking non-verbal part wasn't necessary. Why did we have to focus on non-verbal and all that? But when we realized that these young people had to learn some basic hygiene, like how to clean up properly, not to have body odor, how to dress, and things like that. And we realized that sometimes they will go for interviews and employers will send them back, like, go back. Your non-verbal is not looking it. we realized that this was important to our curriculum. We had to add it inside, how to teach people some basic things like how to dress, to iron your clothes before going for interview. Yes, we had to go low, as in go low and teach them things like that. Yeah, fine, you can go on with the slide. So this verbal communication, of course, we know is transmitting information using words or language. Then non-verbal communication, transmitting without words, how you check your appearance, your poise, and all that. And when we teach this non-verbal class, we go in detail, When we do non-verbal tomorrow, I will explain, you will see how detailed we get. And I'm sure you'll be amazed. We go in detail, no shame, no need to be shy. Take it down. Okay, so that's non-verbal communication. Right. So we're communicating for a range of purposes. Now, here we are going to do a sort of a game. So we communicate for some basic purposes. Now, I need you to tell me the purposes why we communicate, the range of purposes you think we communicate. Why do you communicate? What are the range of purposes you think we communicate with? You can leave a comment in the comment section, or you can just say it out. Anyone can say. What are the range of purposes that we communicate for? I'm still waiting.
Probably call news.
What are the range of purposes we think we communicate for?
You should probably call their names, Amina.
We want us to go that route. Okay, let's start with Alumni. Do you think, why do you think you communicate? So we're running out of time. Mr. Lalo, are you there? Wow, I don't think people are here. If you are here, can you indicate that you're here?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, I'm here.
One of the reasons why we communicate is to actually pass out useful information to maybe somebody.
Okay, so that's we communicate to inform. I agree.
Yes.
I communicate to inform. I agree. What else? So we got one to inform. Okay, what else?
So
okay.
we communicate to get feedback.
Yeah, I agree. And I also say at this point that communication is not even complete unless there's feedback. So if somebody has given you feedback, you haven't communicated. I agree with you, Mr. Olalua. Mr. Bolariwa, are you here with us? Okay, I've not heard Mr. Bolariwa's voice in a while. I hope he's here. I hope he's back. Okay, yeah. So okay. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay, fine. Can you run us through the range of purposes why we communicate?
The network is breaking now.
Okay. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you clearly, loud and clear.
Thank you. If I can you run us through the slides? Why do we range of purposes? So we communicate to inform, like we said, to persuade and to entertain. These are the three main purposes: to inform, persuade, and entertain. Every form of communication we do, whether we teach, whether we are having fun, whether we are trying to market a product, everything falls under these three basic purposes: to inform, persuade, and entertain. me already. Yes. So get a piece of paper. Everyone get a piece of paper. Number from 1 to 5. Okay, fine. Let's hold on with these instructions first. Let's be sure everyone has a piece of paper. Number the paper 1 to 5. And then for each of the following slides, we are going to roll through some couple of slides. You write down the purpose of the communication presented by the picture.
Okay.
This instruction presented by the picture. Okay, this is the first. Are we all ready?
Yes. I am.
Okay,
ready.
can we see the first slide?
Yes, I can.
I didn't see anything there. I didn't see anything.
There's a slide here, a wave hospitality slide here, a flyer. Can we see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Can everyone see it?
Okay,
Yes.
I can see.
Yes.
Okay, does
You
this,
found
what does
password
this
and all
do?
that.
Does it inform, persuade, or entertain? Just write it down. Does it
All right.
inform, persuade, or entertain? Just write your answer down.
All right. Next slide.
Next
please.
one is the Guardian newspaper. Next one is the Guardian newspaper. Does it inform, persuade, or entertain? Write it down. Third one is Chimamanda Adichie's novel, Half of a Yellow Sun. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's novel, Half of a Yellow Sun. Does it inform, persuade, or entertain? Write down your answer. The fourth one is Martin Luther King's speech. Martin Luther King gave this speech some years ago when the blacks and whites were having issues, still having issues in America, when he talked about the I Have a Dream, where blacks will be and whites will be one. The I Have a Dream speech. Is it to inform or persuade or entertain? Lastly, your report card, whether it's WAEC or your school report card, whatever report card you have, does it inform, persuade, or entertain? So yeah, at this point, I'll run through everything again. I think the first one was the wave flyer. The second one was the Guardian newspaper. The third one was the Ngozi Adichie's novel, Half of a Yellow Sun. The fourth one, Martin Luther King's speech. And the fifth one is the report card. It's at this point that we will share our results. Good. So you can share your results at this juncture. What do you have? You can either put it in the comment section or you can tell us what you have. Let's start with number one. The first one we had is what was the first one again, if I? Let's start with the answer.
Yeah, I'm trying to. My system is
Okay,
hanging.
I think Mr. Balara is putting up his answers already. He has number one, inform. Number two, you can put up your answer in the comment section as well, if that's okay with you, or you can share with us if you want to. Anyone is fine. I think the number one is wave flyer.
Yeah, wave flyer.
So number one is wave flyer. Mr. Bolaring's answer is to inform. Okay. Mr. Etim, what's your number one answer? Mr. Etim has inform as number one answer as well. Okay. Mr. Olaoluwa. Number one, what was your answer? Okay, I think Mr. Olaoluwa is trying to say something, but we can't hear him. Okay. But if can you just share the answers with us? Let's see if you are correct. Are people already putting their answers up already? Okay. So number one, we have persuade. Most of us had inform as number one, but number one is to persuade. So the wave flyer, we are not just telling you about the program. Can you hear me?
Yes, we are with you.
So the wave program, the flyer doesn't just tell you about the program. The flyer also wants you to attend the program. So it's to persuade you to join, to come, not just to tell you about it. So number one is to persuade. Number two is the Guardian newspaper is to inform. I think most of us got number two, at least from what I'm seeing from Mr. Etim and Mr. Bolarinwa. Mr. Olaoluwa, I can't see your answers though. That's Sumishi, I can't see your answers. So number two, yes, we got number two, inform. Number three, yes, we got number three, to entertain. Yes. Let me check. Yes, entertain. Amazing. Number four, we got it, to persuade. That's the Martin Luther King speech, is to persuade. Let me check. Mr. Yep. And number five is to inform. Number five is the report card. The report card is not persuading you now. Anyways, some students have argued that it depends on what is on the report card. Some people have argued that if the report card is great, is to persuade you to get it, to actually do better. But if the report card is poor, then it's just telling you what it is. But then, yeah, it's to inform. So that's it for range, communicating for a range of purposes. We communicate for three major ranges: to inform, to persuade, and to entertain. Somebody has his hand up. I hear you. I see you, Mr. Etim. Let's go.
For the report card, if you see poor on your report card, they're persuading you to do better next time now.
Okay, exactly. Yeah.
That was why I picked persuade.
Sorry?
That was why I picked persuade.
Yeah, and that was what most of our Chinese argue with us as well, that the report card depends on what's on it, depends on your perspective towards it. Okay, Mr. Bolarinwa, your hand is up. Yep.
I think the purpose of issuing report card is to tell you your how far you've been able to perform, your performance. So I won't go by the word persuade. It's not actually persuade, though it can persuade you to do better. But the initial reason for giving out the report card is to inform you for what you've done in the past, the result of what you have done, the result of your handwork. If you do better, you see, and if you make
your handwork. All right. If are you saying something?
Yes, I wanted to just add that this just goes to speak about as we proceed in the class, right? So we'll talk about a part of communications that talks about understanding. Can we all hear me, please?
Yes, please.
Okay, a part of communication talks about understanding. So it just means that at the end of the day, nobody's answer is wrong or right. However you understand it is how you're going to interpret it, is how you're going to give us your response. That's just what it means. So as Amina proceeds in the class, we will understand why we cannot argue from now till tomorrow why which is either persuade or entertain or whatever. But at the end of the day, the point being is that however you understand someone saying something is how you're going to interpret or respond to that person. So We are not wrong in any of our responses. Our own answer to is not wrong. Your own is not wrong. But however you understand it is how you are going to interpret it. And as we proceed, we'll see the reason why that is like that. Thank you.
Thank you, fine. So yeah. And with that, we have come to the end of today's session because it's exactly 1 p.m. At this point, I'm going to give every one of us a round of applause. Thank you for your consistency. We stayed through. Please, I want to see your faces while I'm clapping for you. I've not seen Mr. Eti's face, so thank you so much. Thank you so much. You stayed through to the end. You kept
You guys are
time.
awesome. Honestly.
Thank you. Your contribution was just amazing. You guys, I like the kind of the partners we have. I was telling Ifine during the break that the partners we have, I like the work that you do. We can relate to the work that we do. So I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you, pandemic or not, to make sure that we continue to do what we do to help the people that we help. So you guys do an amazing job. So while Wave tries to also put our work on virtual platform, you are also in luck because as we go on virtual space, we are going to be carrying you along as well. So thank you so much for staying with us for these 3 hours. I'm going to be seeing you tomorrow by 10 a.m. again. If you have any questions, now is the time to ask the questions. If not, or anything to say, if not, we call it a day.
I actually want to say thank you so much.
Mr. Etin, finally!
I want to say thank you so much. Like, maybe I should just open up a little. Initially, I was thinking please. All this, I've had invitations like this, and at the end of the day, it didn't work out. Like, you just hear them saying, we've cancelled the conversation based on 1 or 2 things beyond our control. So coming up to see you pressuring me, like, I was like, no, because of Amina, I need to attend this. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be part of this. So happy.
Thank you so much as well. Thank you so much. We are so happy and excited as well. Thank you. Thank you. If anybody has anything to say, now's the time to say it. Otherwise, we're going to call it a day, and I'll be seeing you by 10. So please, at this point, if you haven't done the baseline assessment, I think I'm not sure if Mr. Tumishi has done it. Tumishi, I don't know if you can hear me, but if you haven't done it, please can you do it now so we can get the data up? We're going to share the slides, the one Ifeanyi slide today. I'm going to share with you today. First, I'm going to create a WhatsApp group, just in case you see your number in a WhatsApp group. Don't worry, it's me there on the WhatsApp platform. And I'm creating it not with the usual line I call you on. I'm creating it with a more personal line, so you can reach me almost 24/7 if you have issues that you have to deal with. So I'm going to create that. So I'm going to be sharing the slides on that platform, the WhatsApp platform. The Ifeanyi slides included, okay? When we finish communication, after every module, we'll share the slides just like that, all right? If nobody has anything to say at this point, thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye.